G'day everyone! Today I'm going to be upgrading my table saw from this to this. So let's go back in time a little bit and get this thing put together. Let's do this. Alright guys, so we're going to start this off by unboxing this thing, getting it out of a packet. It's all wrapped up really well, so it takes a bit of time just to get everything open. We take these extension wings out and check out that cast iron top. Now this is wrapped really well, so it's very protected. Not a single scratch on this thing, which was awesome. Now I knock off the front of this pallet here to allow it to be easier to slide off, and I bought a mobile base so I could move it around the workshop. Inside the saw was a bit of storage, so we took some stuff out of there, undid the bolts that held it on the pallet, and it slid straight off. This bracket here was just in place for transport to hold the motor in, so quickly remove that. Now open up these extension wings. They're all nicely wrapped and protected so they don't go rusty. So once I got them out of the plastic and removed this paper cover, I just had to wipe off all the excess oil that was on there that protected the metal. Then we moved on to the hardest part of this setup, which was attaching these extension wings by myself. Now because they're solid cast iron, they did weigh quite a bit. It was a bit hard to get the bolts in, but after a bit of back and forth, I managed to figure out a way to do it. Getting these things level was probably the hardest bit, but again, a bit of a playing around with it, and we managed to get them nice and flush. Now, if you can, I would recommend having a friend around that can help you with this so you can hold the table and they can put the bolts in. But if you don't, let's just hope you're a Sasquatch like me and you can do it yourself. Bit of fine adjustment here. It did take some time, but I put the straight edge on, and that's a great way to see if the whole thing is running true, and it was beautiful and flat. Now on with these turn wheels. They were a bit stiff to begin with, but after a few rotations they loosened up beautifully and they turned really nicely. Time to open up the rail system. Now I've never set up a table saw before, so I didn't really know what to expect here. Just opened everything up, had a look at what I had in front of me, and went about putting it together. So this was the front and rear rail system that the fence runs on. So we figured out which one went on the front. Again, bolted it in. Now the instructions were a bit iffy here. For some reason they only told me to attach 3 bolts. It was like that in a few places, but I went back at the end of the build and put in all the leftover bolts that I should have just put in at the start, really. I'm using a combination square to make sure that everything fits, and then I put the tube on that supports the fence. Again, this said use 3 bolts when there were clearly space for 5. Not really sure why that is, but hey, we went back and fixed it up at the end anyway. Now this rail here supports the opposite side of the fence so that it doesn't actually run on the cast iron top. Gives it a bit of a buffer. Again, using the combination square just to make sure that it's running parallel. Tighten everything down and we were good to go. Now, when I opened this box, I was expecting to have to build the fence, and I was pleasantly surprised when I got in there that the fence came fully assembled and ready to go. It was really well packaged too. So I literally took this straight out of the box, dropped it down onto the tube, and it was perfect. It was a really nice glide straight off the bat. I did have to do some minor height adjustments, but it was really nice. Moving on now to installing the switch. This wasn't really well explained in the instruction manual. Luckily, common sense prevailed. It was pretty easy to do. Now, onto the blade. There's a bit of excess grease in here, so I was loosening off the nuts and then I decided to remove all this excess grease. So off with the blade support and then on with the brand new CMT 80 tooth blade. I went about installing the writhing knife, which was a bit early. I should have waited until I put the table insert back in. While I had access to the whole area, I just wanted to get my head around how it worked. This particular saw's got a quick release mechanism, so it's very easy to do. Then installing the measuring on the tube of the rail system. So the best way to do this was to mark a measurement with a bit of pencil, remove the fence, and then peel off the adhesive backing and stick your measuring tape down, making sure that mark that you made is in line with the correct measurement. Finally, we had the extension table. Now this was probably my least favorite part of the build. The quality of this extension table I thought could have been a little bit better. It went in all right. It was extremely difficult to flush up, but man, it was satisfying peeling off this plastic. Check that out. How good is that sound? Now, a bit of shop modification to fit this saw in. I had to cut off the end of my bench. I was planning on using this as an outfeed table, but it's a little bit low, so I will have to replace this in the future. But with a little modification, we've got enough room to move around and the saw fits right where I wanted it to. Time for the first cut. So guys, that's my new Carbatec C250P put together, ready to go. The accuracy so far has been amazing, stepping up from the old Ozito one that I used to use. That thing can go in the bin now, I think. This table saw looks like it's gonna be absolutely awesome in the shop. It's dado capable as well, so one day when I can actually afford dado blades, I'll be able to do some nice joinery with it. It was fairly simple to set up. There were a few areas that were a bit finicky, but I'm sure if you buy one of these, you'll figure it out. One thing I'm really happy about is that Carbatec seem to have stepped up their game when it comes to their instruction manuals. This is the instruction manual for my lathe. It's just a photocopied piece of junk that's actually stapled on the wrong side. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and the images really were no help. This is the table saw manual. Full color, feels like a nice brochure. The pictures were a little bit better. The instructions could always be more detailed, but it did get me through. There was a little bit of guesswork, but they have upped their game a little bit. Now, if you intend on buying one of these saws, I would highly recommend getting a friend to help you put it together. It was a bit of a mission trying to balance the wings, bolt them on, and get them level when I only had my set of hands around. A spare set never goes astray. Aside from that, everything else you can pretty much do by yourself. I've currently got a crosscut blade in there, 80 80-tooth CMT blade. I'm just waiting on my ripping blade to arrive. It hasn't come in yet. So once that gets here, we're gonna have to build something using this table saw. If you like the look of this saw, I'll leave a link down below for the exact one that I've got. It's not an affiliate link. It's just there to help you guys out if you want a good saw. Also, if there's anything from the unboxing that I didn't cover that you wanna know, just leave a comment down below. I answer all the comments in the comment section. So if you've got a question, hit me up and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Now, I know this wasn't a project build, guys, so if you want to see a project, I've got one queued up just here for you, and I've got this playlist just here that's pretty good too. Check both of them out, let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next project.